When businesses look at AI, it often feels like they're caught between, well, a rock and a hard place.
Uh-huh.
You've got the cloud AI, super powerful, convenient, sure, but then boom, major worries about data security, privacy, especially with sensitive stuff.
Absolutely. That risk, particularly around proprietary or, regulated data, it's a huge hurdle for a lot of companies thinking about the cloud.
Exactly. And then the alternative, the traditional on-premise approach, that usually means like massive upfront hardware costs plus needing this whole expert IT team just to keep it running. It's complex and expensive.
It's a real tension, isn't it?
Yeah.
How do you use AI effectively without compromising your data?
So that's why this deep dive is interesting. We're looking at source material discussing a company called Lemony, and they seem to have, well, a pretty novel approach to this specific problem.
Okay.
Our mission here is just to unpack what Lemony offers based only on the information we've got in these sources.
Right. Stick to the script, so to speak. So let's start with the product itself. The sources describe it as an on-premise AI device.
Yeah, and the author makes a point about how it looks simple, maybe even a bit toy-like.
Huh. Yeah, toy-like. It's an odd description, but maybe intentional, to contrast with what's supposedly inside.
Which the source says is proper enterprise-grade tech.
Suggests they're aiming for user-friendliness, maybe, without skimping on the power. And speaking of user-friendly, the sources really stress the plug-and-play setup.
Okay, so how does that work?
You basically just connect it to your computer, or maybe your local network. Then you upload the documents you want the AI to learn from internal stuff, reports, emails, PDFs.
So it sounds like it sidesteps that usual on-prem complexity right off the bat.
Seems like it. But here's the main thing the source keeps highlighting. It works completely offline.
Completely offline. No internet connection at all.
None required, according to the material. Zero cloud connection. Data doesn't leave your premises. They even mentioned a physical security key comes with it.
Wow, okay. That directly hits the big fear with cloud AI, doesn't it? Data security.
Exactly. The source explains that because it's offline, all your sensitive corporate data stays put inside your own network.
Which is huge for companies wanting to use like all those internal documents the source mentions, thousands of emails or PDFs that they'd never risk sending out to the cloud.
Right. It lets them tap into that dormant data, as the source calls it, get insights without the privacy headaches or compliance risks of sending it externally.
Makes sense. And is it just a single box? What if you need more power or users?
The source covers that too.
Well,
It's described as having a stackable, modular design, so you can connect more nodes, more boxes together.
to add more users or just more processing grunt?
Both, it seems. The source says each node handles up to 5 users, so you add nodes for more people or more demanding tasks.
Gotcha. And what about the AI itself? What models are running on this thing?
The source mentions it comes preloaded with 16 open source models, specifically calls out IBM's Granite family and Meta's Llama variations, high performance ones.
So reputable models, and it seems like they're building partnerships too, based on the source.
Yes, definitely. The source notes IBM is actually deploying their enterprise models on these devices.
Okay, IBM. Who else?
JetBrains is involved, integrating coding models and tools. That's a big one for software development
Oh,
teams.
interesting. And there was a reseller mention.
Carasoft. The source identifies them as a reseller focused on the U.S. government and healthcare sectors.
Which lines up perfectly with that offline security angle, right?
Right.
Highly regulated industries.
Exactly. The source points out that's where they seem to be getting traction. Legal, finance, government, healthcare. It lists current users like lawyers, medical staff, financial advisors, even retailers.
So sectors where data confidentiality is paramount. Now, the big question, cost. What does the source say about pricing
It gives a specific number, $499 per month per node.
per month? Okay, and that includes?
Everything, apparently. The hardware, the software access, updates, support. The source also says the per node cost drops if you get more nodes. And there's a 2-week free trial mentioned.
$499 a month per node. All right, and how do updates work if it's totally offline? That seems tricky.
Good question. The source explains they handle updates quarterly, delivered via USB drive.
Ah, okay. SneakerNet updates. Keeps it secure, no external connections needed, but still keeps the models current. Clever.
Yeah, it maintains the security protocol while still allowing for improvements.
Okay, so let's try and pull this together based on the source material. Lemony seems to be offering a pretty unique take on the AI dilemma.
It does. It's tackling that cloud security versus on-prem complexity issue head on.
Right. With a physical plug-and-play device that keeps everything completely offline, Enterprise AI power, but locked down, secure. Designed for processing sensitive internal data safely.
making it particularly attractive, as the source suggests, for those heavily regulated industries we talked about.
So, thinking about all this, the rising concerns about data privacy, the need businesses have to actually use their vast amounts of internal data. Lemony's approach, as described in the source, really makes you think.
hmm But it prompts a question, doesn't it? For you, the listener, to sort of mull over.
Hmm.
If this kind of secure, accessible offline device can unlock sensitive data without cloud risks,
Yeah.
well, how might technologies like this fundamentally change the game for AI adoption? Especially for organizations sitting on mountains of highly confidential information, how might it reshape their entire strategy going forward?